Late at night, radio low, hoping no one else would hear. That's how a lot of us fell in love with this music. Tonight, these rare photos and forgotten facts bring that feeling back. The Police in 1979, the year they conquered the world with Regatta de Blanc. Sting's jazz background, hinted at by the saxophone, gave the band a musical sophistication that made their punk reggae sound totally unique and ultimately unstoppable. Iggy Pop, Backstage, 1973. Raw Power just came out. The sound is ahead of its time. Too ahead. Critics don't know what to do with it. The band is burning hot and burning fast. This quiet moment? Rare. On stage, Iggy's throwing himself into the crowd, smearing peanut butter on his chest, bleeding. The Stooges won't last much longer. But what they're building here, punk rock, will outlive them all. The Doors in their breakout year. They looked like poets, and they were. Jim Morrison took the band's name from an Aldous Huxley book, The Doors of Perception, which itself came from a quote by the visionary 18th century poet William Blake. Another angle from that legendary Miami Jam, 1964. The Beatles were supposed to meet Sonny Liston, but he blew them off. So they got stuck with the loudmouth challenger instead. A week later, Clay shocked the world and became champion. Suddenly, this photo meant everything. On his first tour with Black Sabbath, Ronnie James Dio introduced the world to the devil horns. He said it was an old Italian gesture his grandmother used to ward off evil, but it quickly became the universal symbol for heavy metal. The poet laureate of rock and roll. But on the road, Chuck Berry was famously difficult. He'd hire a new, local backing band in every city and demand they know his songs perfectly, often firing them on stage if they missed a single note. Paul McCartney's post-Beatles supergroup, Wings. But he started it from the ground up. On their first tour, they drove around Britain in a van, showing up at universities unannounced and playing for whatever cash they could collect at the door. The Clash, On Top of the World in New York City, 1981. This was during their legendary 17-night stand at Bond's Casino, a wild run of shows that was plagued by overcrowding and fire marshals, cementing their reputation as the only band that matters. The king and queen of New York punk. Joey Ramone had a legendary, unrequited crush on Debbie Harry. He wrote the classic Ramones song, I Wanna Be Your Boyfriend, specifically for her. A rare, candid moment between two punk rock originals. The Stones on the Exile Tour, 1972. Peak era. Mick Taylor's guitar weaving through everything, the band loose and tight at the same time. They were living hard and playing harder. This is what the Stones looked like when nothing could touch them. The queen of 80s rock. But Pat Benatar's secret weapon wasn't her look. It was her voice. She was a classically trained opera singer, and that powerful soprano training gave her the incredible range to hit all those legendary notes. Keith Richards, Stones UK Tour, 1971. Peak creativity, peak everything else. And in the middle of it, his dog, Boogie. Constant companion. Even Keith needed something steady when the world was spinning that fast. Jimi Hendrix with Michelle Phillips and Mama Cass at Monterey Pop, 1967. Cass was one of his biggest champions, blown away by the man who had come to conquer America. A meeting of the California sound and the revolutionary new noise. The Who, circa 1965. The undisputed kings of the mods. Their look was as important as their sound, and this iconic photo captures their tough, arrogant style. The ultimate faces of the swinging London scene. The Student and the Master. Stevie Ray Vaughan with his hero, Buddy Guy, in 1983. This was the year SRV's debut album revitalized the blues. A perfect passing of the torch from the Chicago legend to the new Texas king. Neil Young in 1976. After the huge success of Heart of Gold, he famously headed for the ditch, rejecting pop stardom for a series of raw, dark, brilliant albums. This was Neil at his most uncompromising and creatively fertile. Pink Floyd's first and only American tour with Syd Barrett, 1967. What should have been a triumphant arrival was a disaster. Syd's erratic, often catatonic performances on this tour forced the band's hand, leading them to bring in David Gilmour soon after. The Rolling Stones Backstage, 1975. Ronnie Wood's first tour. His arrival changed everything. Looser, scrappier, more fun. The Glimmer Twins finally found their new partner in crime. Another decade of rock and roll was just getting started. This wasn't a pose. This was the real Johnny Cash in a quiet moment backstage around 1961. You can see the weight of the world on him, the same raw, conflicted spirit that would soon conquer Folsom Prison and captivate a nation. The innovator and the architect. In 1957, Buddy Holly and the Crickets landed a spot opening for Little Richard. The young Holly, still a rising star, carefully studied Richard's explosive showmanship every single night, learning from the master himself.